What's good, family? High value basketball. We back once again with the best basketball commentary on this side of the whole entire planet. You dig? We are going to go through the Fringe superstars coming into the 2023-2024 season, aka players 11 through 20. Players that's just outside of the top 10, the official stars or superstars of the NBA. But we're going to give a nice little shout out to all of the honorable mentions and see how they stack up. Now, mind you, this is my list. This is my channel. You don't like my list? Go make your own channel, or at least go ahead and put your response to it in the comment section. It'll be fun to chop it up, see what y'all think. But don't be coming over here chopping my head off because you don't agree with my list. Go ahead and make your own. Yeah, dig? Now, how I put my list together, I do look at three major things, at least as far as this video is concerned. I'm going to bring out the PER, the true shooting percentage, and essentially the eye test circumstance of how they influenced their team and how far that team got. So actually 4 stats. And so with that being said, we're just going to hop right into it. Right at the bottom of the superstar Fringe list is KAWHI Leonard with a PER of 24.1 and a true shooting percentage of 62.3%. Now, he's definitely at the bottom for the main reason we all should already know. Injuries, man. Injuries. That's the only reason. If this man could ever stay healthy, he should be actually top 5 in the whole NBA. But because he can't, I reliably cannot put this dude any higher than on the bottom ring of Fringe superstardom, because you cannot depend on him. It's one thing to get injured at the in the beginning of the season, middle of the season. This will be getting injured in the playoffs, man. Like, bro, come on, man. We know you the robot, the cyborg, but clearly your motherboard ain't wired right, and it's the jig is up on this man. So he's at the bottom of the superstar Fringe tier list. Right above him, though, we got his teammate Paul George. Now, see, Paul George has a lesser stats, a lesser PR of 19.75 and a true shooting percentage of 58.8. But again, he's at least more available than KAWHI. And in the last run, he did carry the Clippers as much as he possibly could. And he actually showed up for once. You know what I'm saying? For once, he showed up like back in his Indiana days, where he actually was really balling out and really had no fear or really no hesitancy. Because that's what I've noticed when he plays with KAWHI. He has hesitancy because he knows he's a second option. He knows that KAWHI is better than him. Seems like when he doesn't have that cloud over his head, he just does what he needs to do. So given the fact that he did that last season, and given the fact that he's played, if not more games, he's at least played in the playoffs, I'm going to give him the nod above. But same thing, if he was actually healthy, he'd be in the top 10 list too. But he ain't. Moving on, Jaylen Brown. PER 19.3, true shooting percentage 58.1. Mr. Most Expensive Player in the NBA, Mr. 300 mil, Mr. Oh my God, who put that check in your hand? And can I get a check with you, Mr. Jaylen Brizzy Brown, my cousin, my namesake? What up, fam, that I ain't never met before? Can you buy a brother a donut? Anywho, Jaylen Brown is out here doing his thing. Again, 19.3 PER, true shooting percentage of 58.1%. He's on the bottom list, man, because we already know what's going on with him. The fool ain't got no left hand. He's been exposed already. We know he's a second option on the Celtics. He's not even a first option player. And I'm just being critical of the guy. Not to say I don't like the guy, not to say I don't think he can get better or any of that, but I'm just not feeling it. I'm not on the Jaylen Brown train. He disappointed me after I thought he was going to take over the team. See my video that I did on the Celtics last season. I really thought he was finna step up, and he stepped down, way down in the playoffs, man, and then got paid. So, it ain't looking too good for your boy, man. Eyes on him, though. Next up, again, this is probably when y'all finna start flaming your boy, but I don't care. Mr. Anthony Edwards with a PER 17.5, true shooting percentage 56.4. Now, I know folks is ready to crown this man the next face of the NBA. They watching him play in FIBA and put up highlights and lead the team, and everybody's all itchy scratchy to make him the next MJ. We got the memes of him being bald with the same face. We got all of this going on, and man, I just gotta say, pump the brakes a little bit. It's not that I don't like the guy whatsoever or anything of that. I just believe he's got to show improve. He's got to show improve, fam. We got so many legit stars in the NBA, so many legit vets, so many players who have accomplished more and seemingly are still on pace to accomplish more, or they're on better teams or better situations. The dude's got to prove himself and overcome all of that before I can put him in a top 10 situation. So he's a fringe superstar because he still got to put it together. And if we look at his PER too, I'm already giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's behind everybody else in this list below him. But I still give him the rank above because he's actually out there on the court. Moving on, De'Aaron Fox with a PER of 21.7, true shooting percentage of 59.9%. This man, he's so underrated in my opinion. No one pays the Kings any attention like that. Now, granted, they got their nice little pub, because folks was finally talking about them. They made the playoffs and everybody was, light the bell, light the laser, what is it, light the beam, whatever the little purple lighter joint is. And shout out to that arena. I've actually seen that arena in person, and that joint looks like it literally looks like a piece of artwork. The bird cage, that joint crazy. But anywho, De'Aaron Fox is definitely an underrated leader. And I believe that's one of his strongest qualities. He is the leader of that team quietly, and he does so. I don't know if he does it emotionally in the locker room, but you can definitely tell he leads emotionally and with his play on the court. And he's doing that from a point guard position. He's channeling that AI energy, just, more skillful and less hip hopish. And I give him that, man, because he shows up in the clutch. He doesn't back down. He's got big bravado. And yeah, man, I have not seen him lose focus in the biggest moments. He just hasn't been able to get it done because the team isn't that great. So because he hasn't had that great of an impact, and his namesake is just now getting out there, I got him in the fringe superstar range. Shout out to De'Aaron Fox. Moving on to Donovan Mitchell. PER 22.9, true shooting percentage of 61.4. Some folks may have this dude in the top 10 after seeing him have a point explosion last season, but I ain't with it. Gotta remember, the art or the reason why they play the game, the reason why we watch is to watch people win. Of course, collecting stats and doing great highlight stuff is always fun, but we don't watch the game for highlights. I mean, we do, but we don't get the biggest emotion. We don't get the biggest award or achievement for watching people collect stats and lose. We watch them collect those stats and win. That's really the thing that raises your fist at the end of the day. If your favorite player did not do necessarily the greatest, but they won a chip, you finna be happy. But let's just say they did the greatest they could and they lost. There's nothing that can supplant that. So I said all of that to talk about Donovan Mitchell is because since that bubble explosion, he's been put on notice. We see that he's Dwayne Wade, essentially 2.0 or 1.5, really, because he's got the 3-point sliders slid all the way up, but the defensive sliders slide all the way down on the 2K registry. And of course, he had the big 70-point explosion. But all of that offensive maestro and mastery going on, we saw what happened in the playoffs. He did not show up, and it was disappointing because we done seen him be clutch, we done seen him be a monster, we done seen him be consistent, and then when he finally gets himself in a different situation where he could theoretically legitimately complete, he wasn't there. He faded. So he's in the second tier fringe superstar, yo. Once he shows up in the playoffs, it's on, because his style of play is superstar worthy. You just gotta win, bro. Moving on, Mr. SHAI Gilgeous-Alexander with a PER of 27.2, true shooting percentage of 62.6. This guy, unless something just does not go right in Oklahoma City, he will be in that top 10 superstar list. Just as we saw before with Kevin Durant in their era, and they sprang into the leadership of the Western Conference. They sprang into defeating veteran teams. They sprang into getting into the championship round. I'm telling y'all, they're going to take that leap, and SHAI is going to actually lead the way. As long as this roster continues to gel, as long as their rookie acquisitions, begin to come together, as long as Chet Holmgren shows himself to actually be what we think he can be and not be a folded into a pretzel, man, they might make the leap this year. They might make that Western Conference Finals leap and get themselves there. And it would be behind the leadership of Gilgeous, because as we can see, he's got the PER and the true shooting percentage. But if y'all ever watch him play, man, the dude's got poise. The dude's body control is crazy. The way he can manipulate defenders is top tier. And most importantly, he knows how to get to a spot and hit the open shot in those heavy clutch moments. And that's really what makes a superstar. So that's why he's at the top half of this list, but he ain't in the top 10 just yet, because you actually got to get yourself to the playoffs on your own volition, homie. Let's see if you can get him in there, man. Then we'll rank you up a little higher. Moving on. Again, y'all might be mad, maybe not. Mr. Jamal Murray, with a PR of 18.1, true shooting percentage of 57.1. Now, I got Jamal ranked this high despite the fact that his PER and his true shooting percentage is well below darn near everybody in the list below him. They are darn near. But we gotta take in the influence and the impact of winning. Shoot, because he's a winner, some may argue that he should be higher on the list, and I wouldn't even be mad at you with that. But again, as I said earlier about Anthony Edwards, there are other superstars, other vets, vets on teams that are just as equally assembled with equal expectations and a history of winning. They already have chips. He's got to do some work to leapfrog those folks. That's just real talk. If he does exactly what he did in the playoffs again this coming year, and even say they gotta win, let's just say they get Western Conference Finals and he just shows up, I'm officially gonna put him in that top 10. Because as far as shooting guards are concerned in his position, who finna be better than him if he gets, like, again, to a similar position, leading the squad from his wing, from his wing role. And excuse me, he is a point guard, but we all know this man plays like a 2. So I keep it on play style. That man's a 2. But yeah, in the guard position, how we gonna keep him out of the top 10 if he does what he just did last year? And that was very dramatic, exacting fashion at that. If he does it again, we can't deny the man. So he's definitely fringe superstar status. Next up, Mr. Damian Lillard, with a PER of 26.7 and a true shooting percentage of 64.5. Now, man, Dame is a hard case, man. Like, technically, Dame is a superstar, technically speaking. But we done seen enough of Dame, and we done had in... You see, I'm off on one of my words because I'm emotional now. The truth about it is we've seen Dame have enough opportunities to be in position to actually go ahead and solidify himself as a person that's right there behind Steph Curry. We both know he's got this crazy shooting ability. He can shoot down there half court. Clearly, he's the leader of a team. He's held down Portland for darn near a decade. But yeah, man, it's just something about that winning time. Shout out to the Lakers show. Something just about winning time. When it does come to it, at least as far as him being on the Blazers, he's just not been able to get over the hump. And the biggest L that he took was when he played against the Warriors when they didn't have KD. And it was an even match between him and Curry. Like, it was pretty much an even match. And the Blazers had multiple double-digit leads in that series going into like the third or fourth quarter. And the boy just went flat. He just went flat. And ever since that has happened, it does not seem that he's captured that same magic. Now, of course, in the regular season, he has been even better, to be honest, including his own 70-point outing. But the history just shows, man, we gotta take him down just a tiny little bit of a notch. Hopefully, we can bring him back if he gets, to a new team and he leads that new team very, very, very far. I'm talking about Eastern or Western Conference Finals, well, essentially Eastern if he's trying to get to the East. If he's not leading, I'm talking about leading the charge or 1A, 1B status back to the Eastern Conference Finals at minimum, and goes out in a fiery blaze, not a whimper. We can't thrust him back into superstar mode, Joe. So I love you, Dame, bro. I love you, bro. Like, for real, I done lived out in Oakland myself for a little bit, so I literally know your energy, fam. I've seen the neighborhood you've been around from. Like, I get it. But, bro, you got to show up on that court, man. That's just what it is. Love you, bro. And last but not least, Mr. Jimmy Hemi Buckets with a PR of 27.6 and a true shooting percentage of 64.7. Jimmy is that guy. A lot of people don't want to accept it. A lot of people want to critique him. For whatever reason, after the finals, people was going hard on him in the media, and he didn't show up, and he this, that, and the other, and he's not that guy. Like, what were they actually talking? Like, people don't realize the way that Jimmy Butler was playing, there's a reason why the Michael Jordan memes was going around. He was doing Michael Jordan-ish type of things. It didn't look like Michael because it wasn't as, skillful in its display. But the way that he took the reins of games, the way that he did everything they needed him to do, the way that he stepped up in ways that put it on his back, the way that he just went insane, the way he went challenging and going at players, the way he was calling folks out, that was all 23 energy. That was all Mamba style energy. All of that was. And for people to just completely just douse water on that because he couldn't get over the hump against the Denver Nuggets, who clearly were just a better team, at virtually every position except for his. Like, dude, what was the man supposed to do? This was just like Jimmy Butler versus the Lakers back in the day, or LeBron versus the Spurs the first time that he went, to the finals. There wasn't no way in heaven's green earth that he was gonna be able to do anything again unless he was Michael Jordan himself. And to keep with a buck, Michael Jordan couldn't even do it because of what? The Larry Bird Celtics. Like, it's a team game, y'all. So I say all of that just to say the scrutiny that he got was unwarranted. And he's at the top of this Fringe superstar list because he's not at the superstar list because, unfortunately, his style of play just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't stick out enough. It isn't marketable like that. And I hate to sound like some type of, fanboy, hezzy tween, or you need to do all that to be a superstar. But just generally speaking, when you watch his game, you barely even recognize the fact that he's out there, or he's just doing so much indiscernible kind of things and just regular little layups and, little putbacks here and little runners there. And you're just like, oh, okay. But then next, he got 40 and you're like, oh, dang, and so just because of that style of play is not very noticeable, that puts him outside of it. And as well, we all have come to know the fact that he doesn't coast during the regular season, but he picks his spots. He's a very, very good spot picker during the regular season. And players who pick their spots are not fun to watch, essentially, which is him. And so because he doesn't go complete ham all season, he cannot be in that top 10 officially. But if he got another run in him like that, especially if he get Damian Lillard, who's right behind him in this list, and they go LeBron and Kyrie on everybody, they finna get thrust back into that superstar category officially. So boom, there is my Fringe superstar list, the 11 through 20s, high value basketball. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Peace.